So let me bring in Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont. Good to see you, Senator. Good morning.
Good to be with you.
What do you make of this new development? Do you think it could lead to some sort of breakthrough?
Well, I certainly hope so. I think there's nobody who believes that the sequestration makes a lot of sense. The fact is that if we went forward in this way, the economy would contract. We'd lose about 700,000 jobs at a time when we're in the midst of a severe recession. We'd cut programs that a lot of working families and low-income people need. So I would hope that people get their act together and that we don't go over this cliff.
Well, our new poll finds that more than half of Americans think that these automatic spending cuts are a bad idea. Only 21% think they're a good idea. The poll also finds that negotiations make 51% feel less confident about the economy. And we've seen some wild swings on Wall Street these past few days. Besides the things that may be immediate, for example, we see people losing jobs. How worried are you about how nervous it makes the average consumer or the titans on Wall Street?
Look, it speaks to dysfunctionality in Washington. I think that loses confidence on the part of millions of people. And the sad part here, Chris, is the American people are pretty strong in what they believe. And it's not only opposition to sequestration. They understand that working families throughout this country are really hurting, that many large corporations, 1 out of 4 doesn't pay a nickel in taxes. We're losing $100 billion a year through tax havens in the Cayman Islands and elsewhere where corporations stash their money. The American people are not divided on the issue. They don't want to see cuts in Social Security, Medicare, education, and other important programs. They do want to ask the wealthy and large corporations to start paying their fair share. It's unfortunate that Congress is not listening.
And I'm guessing you're hearing anecdotally what I hear. People ask me all the time, why are these people not sitting down and talking to each other to get this thing done? Senator Pat Toomey talked about the lack of negotiating. Let me play that for you.
I would go to Camp David or anywhere else that the president wants to meet and try to work this out. I would be happy to do it. I spent a lot of time trying to get a solution when I was on the super committee, and I'm trying to make some progress now. What I wouldn't agree to is just kicking this can down the road yet again.
So we know that the president now is going to meet with the leadership. I guess, do you sense on Capitol Hill, Senator, that there's more of a sense of urgency now that the clock is ticking down?
Well, of course there is. But what Senator Toomey has to answer is he prepared to ask the wealthiest people in large corporations to contribute more revenue? As you may know, that in terms of corporate profits right now, the taxes that corporations pay is the lowest that we have seen since 1972. So you can have all the talk you want, but if the question is, well, we'll cut Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid, you make the decision. But we're not going to ask the wealthy or large corporations to contribute more. You can talk till the cows come home. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Revenue today at 15.8% is the lowest that it has been in 60 years. So I would hope that Senator Toomey would be talking about more revenue. Then we can begin to get someplace.
Well, as you know, most Republicans are not talking about more revenue. And let me ask you about this draft bill being circulated by Senate Republicans. They want to cancel the $85 billion in budget cuts and then turn the authority over to the president to let him make the cuts. What's going on there?
Well, obviously, everybody knows what's going on there. It's a game. So the president himself becomes the bad guy. He owns the sequestration. He's the guy who's blamed for cutting defense or Head Start. Here's the issue. The issue is when we have enormous income and wealth inequality. Wealthy are doing phenomenally well. Middle class is shrinking. Who is going to help us in deficit reduction? Do you really want to cut Head Start? Do you want to cut food inspection? Do you want to cut education and health care? Or should billionaires start paying their fair share of taxes? Chris, that is the $64 question. The American people are on our side. Republicans, in this case, are representing the very wealthy against the interests of the American people.
Senator Bernie Sanders, always good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.